I still can't believe it's been over 3 years since the initial reveal of The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild 2, or what we can call it now, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Since then, we've gotten 3 separate trailers showing off the game and one that just finally gave us the title of the game. But even with these trailers, we haven't seen a whole lot of gameplay. In fact, we've only got about 15 to 25 seconds of gameplay each trailer, and the gameplay that we've gotten hasn't been anything super crazy. We've seen Link flying through the sky and of course landing on brand new Sky Islands, but as far as the world of Hyrule itself, it doesn't look like it's changed too much. And many different Zelda YouTubers, including Zeltik, have also made comparison videos from the world of Breath of the Wild and this brand new world of Tears of the Kingdom. They seem to be one-to-one, exactly the same as what we remembered them looking like in the past game, which was kind of upsetting for a lot of people. We wanted to see something new with this sequel and see how they were going to actually expand this game. We know this game is going to have a huge focus on islands in the sky, and like a lot of people have been saying so far, Breath of the Wild's exploration was about going horizontally across the map, and it looks like Tears of the Kingdom's exploration is going to take the complete opposite approach. This game is going to focus on vertical exploration, and these islands are not just in the sky on one even plane, they're actually in different quote-unquote tiers of the sky. As you can see, there are some that are a lot higher than others, and probably even some islands that we can't even see in the trailer yet because they're so high up in the cloud cover. Even with all of these new islands scattered across the skies of Hyrule, it doesn't seem to be enough to really warrant a brand new map or any type of drastic change to what we've already experienced in Breath of the Wild. We're going to be exploring the same overworld, and a lot of people are getting worried a couple of islands in the sky isn't going to be enough to kind of, warrant a sequel. However, there are some slight changes with the terrain on the ground. For instance, Death Mountain is now a volcano that spews out malice instead of lava. It's harder to see in this scene, but the Deku Tree is no longer there. It's not exactly stated why these changes are made, but they are changes nevertheless that might actually result in even more changes of the overworld that they just haven't shown us yet. Besides slight alterations to the overworld and obviously the addition of the Sky Islands, I think there's still a lot more that we don't know. Of course there is, the game doesn't come out until May, but I'm telling you, there's something huge that Nintendo's still hiding, and I think they've given us hints throughout each of the trailers so far. Aonuma himself has even came on stage and admitted that there was something else that they haven't shared yet. Aonuma stated in last year's Nintendo E3 presentation that the adventure of the sequel will take place not just in the ground as in the previous games, but also in the skies above. It then goes on to say, however, the expanded world goes beyond that, which is a very interesting statement that I think not enough people are talking about right now. Aonuma stating that there's something beyond the overworld and the skies is very interesting because they really haven't showed anything else in any of these trailers so far. Or have they? Every single trailer so far has had a little hint at a cave or some type of underground network of passageways that Link or either Zelda are walking through. And it's very interesting. The very first initial reveal trailer shows Link and Zelda exploring the catacombs beneath Hyrule Castle, and they stumble upon the malice-spewing Ganondorf's corpse. I mean, seriously, 90% of this first trailer takes place underground in these caverns, and they seem to go pretty deep. We see giant bridges underneath and different walkways and rivers flowing underneath, and it makes me wonder, why are they showing all this? I know this is probably going to be the opening scene of the game, but there's something more to it. In that first trailer, they even showed a clip of what I presume to be the cave that Link and Zelda are in right now that's underneath Hyrule Castle. I could be wrong, maybe this is an entirely other cave altogether, but it's very interesting that they even have this in the first place, and maybe there's a lot of these now spread out all over Hyrule, and there's a lot of evidence to support this. Whatever this underground network of tunnels could be, they seem to be keeping it under close wraps, but also giving emphasis on Zelda in these tunnels as well. They keep showing Zelda, at least in the first 2 trailers, falling down in this cave, and that's the only thing we keep seeing of her, is that she's in this cave with Ganondorf, and then she falls down. What actually happens to her? We don't see her in the third trailer at all, and this is the only thing we keep seeing of her, period, with this game, is she just keeps falling in this cave. And I really think it's a very important scene that is more than what we think. I don't think she just falls down and we have to get to the end of the game to save her. I think she might actually be playable in a different world entirely. I probably said this 100 times now, but one of the things I wanted to see in my entire life the most is a modern day dark world like they had in Link to the Past and Link Between Worlds. I want to see what a dark world would look like as a giant open world map, the dark version of what we get from Hyrule, where things are a lot different and a lot creepier. Aonuma has stated himself that this game is going to be even creepier than Majora's Mask, and to be honest with you, right now these trailers aren't giving me that type of vibe. Besides the first trailer with a little bit of creepiness, the second and third trailer had big bombastic music of Link free-falling in a bright, beautiful sky full of colorful islands that don't really scream creepiness, or even Majora's Mask at that case. I mean, if anything, it's actually giving me heavenly-like vibes, so whatever it is that's really creepy about this game, they simply just haven't shown it off yet. So honestly, I think they could be hiding an entirely new world, a world that's opposite of Hyrule, that's darker, creepier, and homes crazier monsters. I would love to see a world like this that's maybe controlled by Zelda. While Link's in the overworld and up in the sky, Zelda is in the underworld trying to find a way out, and they both can help each other. I don't think that's actually what's going to happen here, but it's something that I would love to see. I think more along the lines of tunnels and underground networks is what we could actually see. Let's go back to the recent trailer again, and Link rides this pillar all the way back up into the sky, apparently to go to the Sky Islands. But look at the scene on the ground right now. There's a cave on the side of this mountain, and as I was thinking and looking at this area, I don't remember there being much caves in this game at all. Thanks once again to Zeltik on YouTube for pointing out this location. This cave was never there. This is actually an entirely new thing added, which is very interesting. Maybe with all the recent events that's been happening with Hyrule and the awakening of Ganondorf, maybe there's some cave networks that are opening up around the world now. Let me also remind you that Zelda is no stranger to underground caves and even dungeons based around this concept. We've been seeing it a lot actually. As much as we saw it as individual levels or dungeons, we've never really had it accessible as like an open world where we got to explore and go into these caves on our own. For instance, lots of the time we would go into this cave, which would result in a loading screen and then eventually taking us to a small cavern where maybe a heart piece or a bottle was located. The closest we've ever gotten was in Twilight Princess. There's lots of different cave networks that you can actually get lost in. There's so many different paths and alternate routes to take, but once again, it is a loading screen to get into these. It isn't just like a giant cave that you get to walk in and explore within the overworld. It's a separate section of the game that has to load in every time you enter these. This is such a thought about idea. It's actually been modded into a Breath of the Wild mod game called Second Wind, which is a large-scale mod made by CEO Brains and the SW team. They pretty much just made their own mines and caverns within Breath of the Wild, which looks very familiar to that very first Tears of the Kingdom trailer. Same way Skyward Sword had the Lanayru mines, I would love to see more mine networks and underground portions connected maybe ancient civilizations that used to thrive within Hyrule. Maybe ancient towns and cities used to live underground, and imagine if we had kind of a center Earth type of portion underneath the ground. Maybe not a necessarily dark world, but another world where ancient civilization past used to work on things, and maybe ancient Sheikah technology factories or something. That would be so cool. Imagine being able to go to all your favorite locations from Breath of the Wild, but in Tears of the Kingdom, you get to see the civilization of the past beneath them in the ground and in different tunnel ways. This would be a really cool idea and something that I think could definitely be happening here. I don't think it's a coincidence that Nintendo keeps showing the underground portions of Hyrule, and in fact, I think there's actually some very important things going on here that we just can't see the surface of, because Nintendo is still hiding it and keeping it kept under wraps until it's time to show us some of the big things about this game. We probably don't have too much longer to wait because we now have a release date, so maybe some big information can come to us either at the end of this year or the beginning of next year for the spring Nintendo Direct. Let me know what you guys think. Is there something else that I'm missing with part of this puzzle? Is there even more evidence that we could be going underground this time instead of just in the sky? Let me know what you think down below, and thank you so much for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure you leave a like and subscribe to stay up to date on all things Zelda and Nintendo in general. We are trying to reach 200,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we can definitely do it with your help. So please feel free to subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and like always, I'll see you all on the next one. See ya, guys.